Hello and welcome to the Friday edition of Locker Room on Voice of the People TV. I am Jerry High, and we've gone to a thrilling show for you today, and it promises to be exciting as the usual suspect joins us, and Ikechukwu is here with us in the studio, and Maiwa also joining us virtually, and they're ready to break down all the action and share their hot takes. And of course, don't forget, you can join us via the WhatsApp number channel 264 for those who are watching us on LCL TV, and those who are watching on YouTube. You can also call in and also drop your comments under the comments session. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell so you never get to miss an episode of the Locker Room. Ikechukwu makes a return, and great to have you join us once again on the Locker Room. You're looking like the transfer business of Manchester United, but come on the bright side, of course. Look at us, we're doing well. Join the people who are doing well. Don't join people who are managing to do well.
Jerry. Well, good evening to our viewers. Jerry, good evening. Thank God it's Friday, and I just hope this edition of the Locker Room will be as spicy as the day has been also. And Jerry, transfer business is still very much open. I don't know why you're saying. I mean, there's news making around that United is about to change their goalkeeper, which you've always
goalkeeper.
Yes, and
okay, I think
that's a fair place to start.
Yeah.
It shows that United is actually in.
Yeah, I must say that Martinez is a very
Yeah.
serious goalkeeper.
I mean, so that's one for you to actually hold on to. So when
at least relegation is no longer guaranteed. At least staying on top of the relegation spot is the best option. All right, Maiwa, I understand that is with us. I think you still have a meeting with Amorim, but please just be with us for the next 45 minutes. Tolerate us for 1 hour before you go into the business of advising Manchester United. Maiwa, it's great to have you join us.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. I mean, I've said it consistently. Taking away the gear was a very big mistake. I hope they can rectify it by chasing Onana away. Onana is not the kind of goalkeeper you want, to help you get titles. In as much as you will not put the blame on Onana, we have lapses everywhere on the field. But sometimes goalkeepers help you win trophy, help you, gives you that edge to be able to do well. We don't have that kind of goalkeeper at the moment. And I think it's high time we place an Onana that has considered over 130 goals in the last 2 seasons, which is a very terrible record for a goalkeeper. But in any case, it's always amazing to be here. TGIF, a whole lot of shock happening in the World Cup club. It's a good Friday to break it down. Thank you for having me here.
I know you shied away from the transfer business of Manchester United, but don't worry, we'll get to that part of the show. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the NPFL. Several clubs relegated from the 2024-2025 Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) are reportedly seeking a quick return to the top tier by attempting to buy the NPFL slot of Nigerian National League. Teams are poised for promotion. These relegated clubs are allegedly avoiding participation in the NNL and are instead engaging in behind-the-scenes deals. The NNL playoffs will feature 8 teams, 4 from which from the Southern Conference and 4 from the Northern Conference, with only 2 from each zone earning promotion. Teams like Warri Wolves, Crown FC, Corn Caliphate, and Osimhen United are among those vying for NPFL spots in the South, while the Wiki Tourists, Barrow FC, Yobe Desert Stars, and Doma United represent the North. And sources revealed that financial influence and political backing, especially from state government-supported clubs, are fueling these takeover plans, while names haven't been disclosed for security reasons. Relegated teams such as Sunshine Stars, Fakure, and of course Aqua United, as well as Heartland and Lobby Stars, are rumored to be actively involved in talks to reclaim NPFL status by acquiring playoff winners promotion rights. Talking about staying in the NPFL through the back door. This shouldn't be encouraged at any length, at any given explanation. I think this is really bad if the NPFL is going to progress?
Jerry, well, I think the stench, is beginning to come right there at the surface of it. This is a usual practice at the NLO and the NLL level, where you see clubs actually take over, promotion slots, buy slot, and then be part of the NLL, so that they just have to actually play a season and then gain promotion in the Premier League. Now it has gotten to the point, because the corruption is so massive at that level. Now they've become so emboldened. They want to start making it an official statement, just to come back to the NPFL. It's quite interesting to see. And then this is that level where we start asking ourselves, what will the people running our league do? Because if they don't do anything to this, and then trust me, it's as good as saying kissing the league goodbye. Now, what this portends is that people will not put in so much work. They know that once they have the money, there's no point relegating, right? If you just like students attending schools where people don't fail, at the end of the day, you just do it. You just get your promotion, and you keep going and going. So there will be no motivation to actually put you at your toe, on your toe, to actually get the best out of you. And this is so sad, because we are in a country where people actually need money. And from the NLO to the NNL, I think the last time I checked, the price is almost around 25 to 50 million naira for a slot. Now we're talking about the NPFL, so it tells you how much. And these guys need the money. So for a club side that they would have considered the cost of actually transporting their players all through the season to get to that level, they will also consider the cost of feeding and other little accommodation they have actually incurred as a result of playing all of these games. Now they are being faced with this mouth-watering amount, and then you ask them not to take it, when they know that with the quality they have, they cannot even win the league, right? So all of these are the conditions. They might not even have the right facilities to even compete at the NPFL. So all of these things are a very good reason for them to actually bail in. Now the question is this: what will the people who are actually running our league do, and exactly what will this actually how much of a retrogression will this actually bring to our league? Because in the next foreseeable future, if this actually happens this season, it's going to become a norm. And trust me, the quality players that we have in our league will so drop that even the players in the likes of Tanimu that we are complaining that should not be invited will be better off than the people we have in our league.
Maiwa, definitely, this is not the standard that our league should drop to. And I understand that the NNL sides are not financially buoyant to compete, but that shouldn't be the case, that merit will not be the yardstick of playing in the NPFL. Not like if you have money, you can now buy sport instead of qualifying through the right means.
Well, I mean, it's so unfortunate. Ekechukwu said something that's very, very important, and there has been no touchlight on it since. From the NLC to the NNL, that happens a whole lot. It's just that, a whole lot of people do not talk about grassroots football, and that's the reason why they don't know. It happens rampantly, teams moving from the lower league to the NNL. They do it oftentimes, and they buy slots. And, since that has been successful there, that is the reason why they want to bring it from, NNL to the NPFL. The bottom line is this: I don't understand the reason why, when it comes to Nigeria, everything is always scale-leg, especially our football. I mean, let me use England as an example for you. They have a well-structured league that, you can't do something like this. You cannot. If you want to be part of the league, it's that probably a bigger club acquire the team, and they will acquire their position and then play their way up. That's how it should be. Not that a bigger team will come and pay money and come back to use the back door to come back to the Nigerian Premier League. The problem is it takes away a whole lot of quality. And as investors, the implication of this is this: no investor will want to put their money in the league. If all these kind of things were not going on, there should be no reason why the NLL does not have an investor in that particular league. But because of this, a whole lot of politicking, even state government backed team, they are ready to pump in the cash because they know the NNL side, they don't have that much money, and the 100 million will entice them to sell their slots, which does not make any logical sense. The problem is I hope those running our football will not allow this to fly. Football will not allow this to fly. because if it flies, it's going to damage our already damaged league. I mean, the league is there already. No investors they are not attracting investors. Now we want to add this to the plethora of problems that we have with our league in Nigeria. It's just so unfortunate that we have clueless people, running our football in Nigeria. It just doesn't make any sense. And I hope, the LMC and those in charge of our league will not allow this to fly.
All right, definitely. I want to take your word there. I will hope that those who are supposed to know what is right will do what is right, because it will be sad to see that Lobby Stars was relegated last season and they are going to be playing the NPFL next season. Then what is the purpose of playing the league season and having some teams getting relegated? Fine. If you have the money, use the money to buy players and work your way back into the league. You don't have to start buying sports. It makes a whole mockery of the whole essence of having relegation sports and having teams staying in the league. So, but let's talk about female football right now, where the head coach, Justin Madugu, has unveiled a 24-player squad for the Super Falcons campaign at the 13th Women's African Cup of Nations, WAFCON. And it's scheduled for July 5th to 26th in Morocco. Key players include captain Rashidat Ajibade, star striker Sisa Toshoala, goalkeeper Chiamaka Nandozie, and forwards Francisca Odega, as well as Mitchell Alozie. The team will hold training sessions in Abuja before departing for a final training camp in Lisbon, Portugal. And the squad features a mix of experienced internationals and rising talents, including Saudi Arabia-based defender Ashley Plumtree and US-based Michelle Alozie, veteran Osinachi Ohale, and midfielders Halimatu Ayinde, Jennifer Echejini, and Christy Uchebe. The home-based players like goalkeeper Rachel Onachuku and defenders Miracle Osani and Sikiratu Isa are also included. And to prepare for the tournament, the NFF has arranged friendlies against Portugal and Ghana. The Falcons will face Portugal in Lisbon on the.
They're actually not the best player. You know that these ones are actually very good quality that can actually conquer Africa. I mean, they are gunning for their 10th title. This is the 13th African, and they've won, 9. It shows how much of a dominance these women have actually been, in the continent of Africa. Now is the time to actually make it 10. Let's see how far they go in Morocco. Morocco is another very top country at this point. They've really grown their football over the years. Algeria is Algeria is going to be another very strong team in that our group. I don't see Nigeria having any problem as regards qualifying. But of course, winning this championship is what I want to see. And with the way Nigeria actually dispatched Cameroon in that particular friendly, it says a lot about, because Cameroon is one of the strongest teams in African football. And it says a lot about the chance of them actually stealing this trophy. Morocco is going to be, I think, the biggest challenge that we're going to be having in this particular tournament. But then I still fancy the girls to go all the way.
All right, Mayo, you fancy the girls? They have a tough task ahead of them. They have Tunisia, Botswana, and Algeria. Whether you like it or not, this is arguably the group of death. Tunisia, Algeria, and Nigeria in the same group. Maybe Botswana will be the whipping girls, but Botswana has been rising in female football. So it's going to be a very difficult group. With the preparation so far and the squad list, can we say that we have the team that can make it out of this group and go ahead as winning the title?
Well, I think we have the quality. However, I remember the last time we were in Morocco, we didn't win the tournament. I think Morocco knocked us out. That game was very difficult, and they knocked us out in the semi-final, and we didn't get to play the final. And, it was a bit sad. Now we are back in Morocco. I hope we have the opportunity to right the wrong of the last time. I think the thing is this. One thing I appreciate about the female national team is this. I don't think there is a whole lot of, my slot. I think a whole lot of players that are coming, they're actually quality players. They're actually players that are supposed to be part of the national team. And it's a good one. We are seeing Anasisha Toshola, Rashida Dachibade leading the team, and just what Amiche Alozie, Plumtree, all of them coming back. I think the star-studded team, we've dominated so far. 9 out of 13 is not a bad result. It shows how dominant we are in Africa. And I think with the quality we have, we should be able to go very, very far in that tournament, if not win it. I mean, anything short from winning will probably be a failure for Nigeria. However, I'm looking at that list. I'm not sure. Maybe I have to make my research. I am looking at that list. I don't think anybody from the Edo Queens now, the ladies that did the team that did very well in the CAF Champions League. I don't think any of them make that particular list. I'm not 100% sure. It will be it will not be it will not be so nice if any of those girls did not make that particular list, because I mean they did so well, on the African stage, and at least one or two of them deserve a slot in that particular team. That serves as an encouragement for players playing in our league. Yes, we have the issue of inviting players from our local league here and just that. However, especially the Edo Queens, I hope some of them actually make that particular team. I'm looking forward to that particular tournament, and I'm hoping that the girls go all out and right the wrong of the last tournament that was held in Morocco last time.
Yeah, and that's the list. And of course, we're still going to get the list that shows the club side, these ladies who have been invited play for. And of course, for the goalkeepers, we have Chiamaka Nandioze, who is the best goalkeeper in the world as far as I'm concerned. And of course, there's Tochukwu Oluehi and Rachel Unachuku. Fantastic goalkeepers line up there. Talking about the mixture of the foreign-based goalkeepers and definitely the home-based goalkeepers. And for the goalkeepers, Chiamaka and Nandioze, we understand, is a free agent. And that means she might be making a move anytime soon, maybe after the WAFCON. There's also Tochukwu Oluehi, who plays for Charlotte FC out there, and there's also Rachel Unachuku, who plays for Nasarawa Amazons. And the defenders, we have Miracle Sani, Tosin Dimeyin, she plays for Galatasaray, and of course Miracle Sani plays for Edo Queens, and Osinachi Ohale plays for Pachuca Club, the football, and that's in South America. There's Shukrat Oladapo for AS Roma, Michel Alose for Houston Dash in the US, and there's Ashley Plumtree, who plays for Etihad Ladies out there in the Saudi League, and there's Sikiratu Issa of Nasarawa Amazons. For the midfielders, there's Rashida Tajibade, we understand she's a free agent. Halima Ayinde for FC Rosenborg out there in Denmark. There's Deborah Abiodun for Dallas Trinity. Jennifer Echejine, who plays for Paris Saint-Germain. That's quite a big one for her. And of course, there's Tony Payne of Everton and Christy Uchebe for LSL Benfica. Tony Payne, it's been a while. It's good that she's back in the team. There's forwards. We have Asisa Toshala of USBFC. There's Francisca Odega of Etihad Ladies, one of the most traveled ladies as far as female football is concerned. And definitely there's also Ifoma Onumono of Montpellier, and there's Esther Okoronko of AFC Toronto, and there's Omirun Shola of Babajide of UDG Tenerife, and Folashade Ijamilusi of Lianong Shenyang, and Chioma Okafor of University of Connecticut. And of course, if you take a look at this lineup, I think Maiwa, could you say you're satisfied? But the attack lineup is more or less foreign-based players.
I mean, one that I think one of the Edo ladies made that particular team, but I think more of them deserve to be in that particular squad. Yeah. However, I'm looking at the other Payne, the other younger sister. Maybe it's the other sister now of Tony Payne. I don't know the reason why she's not part of the squad. It's been a while, in the last tournament, both Payne sisters were part of the team. I don't know the reason why she's not there. Probably maybe she's out injured or something. But I mean, it's a very interesting list. I think we have the firepower to go unbeaten and probably reclaim the tournament. I just hope there's a lot of coordination amongst them. I hope the team is able to gel together. I mean, they've been at the Beyond Limit Academy since after that friendly against Cameroon for a while now, and I think that will probably help with their cohesion, and we might get to see how they will play in the two friendly matches scheduled before that particular tournament. I think we have a great team, and the team should be able to do the job effortlessly in Morocco.
All right, definitely. We hope the team will be able to do the job effortlessly. And of course, Magudu is saddled with the responsibility of tinkering these girls to as far as winning the title. And of course, that's the lineup of players and their club sides. And we just wish them all the best. Rashida Chibade she has been the captain. Maybe assist Showdown when she returns fully to the team. She'll take over the captain armband. But the fact that Rasheedat is a free agent, I think it makes me worried. But definitely, they say he did body, so definitely she should be able to bring her A game and have her full concentration on making sure she has an opportunity of playing, talking about to play herself to a new club side who will be interested in watching the Women African Cup of Nations. Okay, let's talk about Victor Osimhen. The man has come out this time around to definitely tell us what his plans are as far as his next move is concerned. And of course, he granted an interview recently, just this week, where he said that he's looking at his options, that a lot of club sides are actually looking for his services, but he's taking a deep look at all the offers on the table before he will make his big decision. And of course, he says, this is what happens when the season ends and the summer transfer negotiations begin. There are many clubs that want me, but right now I'm focusing on holidays to enjoy myself, he said in the interview. The man is preparing to enjoy himself when the likes of Florian Wirtz are already settling their transfers. Anyway, they say all work and no play make Jax a dull boy, but his situation is not like every other player. He's in a very tight corner. Napoli does not mind. I've even read the story about Olero De Laurentiis, the owner of the club side. He said a lot of people wanted to buy the club, that he uses the club is more like a toy, a family toy. So he can play with it and decide to do anything with it. But he's just a very proud man and a very difficult man to do business with. This is who Osimhen is dealing with. And I don't think he understands the situation. Maybe he believes that he can walk in any time and decide his fate. But already can decide to keep him in the club and even doesn't mind rendering him just there.
It's easy to actually blame De Laurentiis. It's easy to blame him. But the truth is, Osimhen actually made a very, very wrong call when he actually renewed his contract at that point, the way he did. We should actually call a spade a spade. This is why young footballers, people coming behind, should learn from him. When you have a very good season, that's not the best time to actually rush into penning down a new contract, right? They always say this, that the worst time to actually make a decision is when you're overly excited or when you're very sad, because at that point your emotions get the best out of you, and that's exactly what Osimhen is dealing with at this point. Because if he had not signed that contract at that point, he decided to actually give it a few times, because his contract was not even a year left at that point, so he still could have actually played one more season and see how it goes. But then he decided to actually jump into it. I mean, knowing that the club hasn't treated you well. You suffer racism. Even the official pay did all of that to you. You decided to pen a contract, with them because you want the league. I mean, come on. All of this it shows that he as a person and his camp, they are very, very insensitive of the situation they are in. And of course, at this point, he's saying he's taking it easy. I think that's the best thing he needs to do. He should just take things easy, because if he decides to rush into taking decision at this point, he's going to perhaps get himself into more trouble. Yes, window is definitely going to close in September. He still got between now and the end of July to actually make a final move. And for me, I will always advocate at this point that he should decide to actually take a pay cut, and then with a clause that after a successful first season, believing and trusting in his ability, that he's going to have an improved contract. That's exactly the best way for him to go at this point. But I don't want to blame Napoli, because they didn't actually put a gun to his head to actually sign that contract. He chose to actually stay put at Napoli, and that's exactly why they're having the leverage they're having on him. So I want to cut the Naples side some slack at this point. But for Victor Osimhen, I think it's actually a learning curve for him, and it's so unfortunate that he's not young anymore. He's very much at the peak of his career. At almost 30, he should be able to actually take the right decision. And this is one of those times when you look at players and say, okay, what exactly is the issue? And also, you should also get a good PRO team. You should also get people who are masters in actually keeping a team together. Because one thing about the situation he's dealing with is the fact that people around him have not really, perhaps many of them don't even understand the act of football business. So they don't even understand how to actually market a player. Many of them are just normal street boys, the way he actually, a street boy who found fame. So many of them just, decide to, advise him based off, what they know in the street. But it's actually not the way it works in professional football. And that's exactly why Osimhen's deal seems to be more like a recurring decimal. It seems to be like a deal that will never end. But of course, I just hope he finds a good place to put his head. And this is definitely going to be a learning curve for players coming under him. Perhaps in the under-17 level, or these ones are actually playing at the flying level, they have to look at him and understand that, if you have a successful season in Europe, it is not the best time to renew your contract.
All right, and of course, with the way he even spoke, Mayowa, he said he was going to reflect on his performance for Galatasaray. He sounded like somebody who's already comfortable at Galatasaray. Does it mean that he wants to stay in Turkey? He's looking at the option of staying in Turkey because he said he's going to look at his mistakes and see how he can correct them. That is what he's going to be focusing on during the holidays. That a lot of clubs wish to sign him, but he's not in a hurry to make a decision.
Well, I think granted that interview is an arranged interview. I can bet you to anybody that's into PR will know it's an arranged interview. It's just more of putting pressure on other clubs that if you don't sign me, you have a whole lot of competitor, working towards me to try and get my services, and that would ginger a whole lot of people. And that's the reason why he decided to do the sit down. Ikechukwu said something that is very, very important, which everybody should learn from. We cannot continue to blame the owners of Napoli. Victor Osimhen decided to sign the contract. And the moment you put pen to paper, you are bound by the terms of that contract. You can cry all you want, but the moment you put pen to paper, you are bound by that contract. And Napoli can do whatever they want. The only time Victor Osimhen is free is when the contract runs out. And you already know how the owners are. They can decide to let him rot away on the bench. They were willing to do that last season when Antonio Conte told him that he was surplus to requirements, and they didn't care if they would lose money. That is how stubborn and how cold-hearted the owners of Napoli are. And Victor Osimhen saw all these things, but because of the money, he forgot that his performance would bring him more money. But because of the money, Napoli was offering him, his contract was not up yet. He decided to extend it for no reason. It was not under any pressure, but because they offered to give him more money, he decided to do it. What got Osimhen to this problem is the love of money. And I hope in this particular transfer situation, I hope he doesn't repeat the same mistake. Because if he does the same mistake again, that might just be the end for him. And also, the interview he did, I hope that interview, gets him a bit of traction from top clubs who are dilly-dallying in terms of coming for him. But I know before the end of the season, I think he should be able to get a club. He needs a proper team around him. I hope, he has been able to engage the PR team. That was what facilitated this interview. I hope the PR team will be able to do much more for him, to be able to rebrand his image and get him suitors that will be interested in him before the transfer window closes.
Yeah, Osimhen needs to spend money on his PR team. He needs to make sacrifices to hit the bigger picture, because that's what players who want to be bigger than where they are is. Osimhen has the talent. Had it been an European player or an English player has the kind of talent Osimhen has. Anyway, he may not have a lot of people who tell him the truth, because taking a look at his background, it's really the fact that he does not really have those kind of people. And those he had eventually anyway, he had parted ways with them, and their relationship ended in animosity. Take a look at the brother-in-law who was his former agent that brokered the deal that moved him from Lille to Napoli. He parted ways with him under animosity, and of course, his ex-agent who is now even saying a lot of things about him. These are not the way to build relationship. There's something that has to do with loyalty, and I even sensed that from Imad Abuneke, who was one of those who discovered him.
Yes.
Remember when they were doing a random poll on who is going to win the CAF Player of the Year? You remember what Abuneke said? It shows that he doesn't build relationship that lasts long, and that is not good for a player, because one day you're going to retire. You get? And even talking back at legends like Finidi George. It's not good. He's still a very young man. He needs to watch it. But he has made a lot of mistakes already. And I just hope he can recover from them.
Yeah.
And get the blessing to better his career, because he has the talent to break any, he has the talent to even play for Real Madrid. He can play for any big club in the world, and he can comfortably play for any big club in the world. He shouldn't be struggling to get a club side. It's rather unfortunate.
Yes, it's really unfortunate. Victor Osimhen has really shown that he's proving himself. Even though I personally, I still feel that he still needs to actually give this sort of performance at least in 2 good seasons at a very top club. Napoli is one club that actually he and the likes of Kvaratskhelia actually took Napoli to the summit of Italian football. I was expecting him to actually remain at that level that they actually delivered that title. But of course, injury has another idea. I was hoping to actually see him, play for Napoli under Antonio Conte to actually cement his place as arguably one of the best in Europe at this point. But then he moved to Galatasaray. Yes, he showed that, yes, I'm from a different class, and he had to prove it in Turkey that he's one of the best strikers in Europe. Now he's there. Now the issue we're dealing with is the issue of, his character as a person. There, like you mentioned rightly, there are top PR firms that actually launder people's image. I think that's what he should be looking for. And it's so sad that anyone who does not have that person that can actually talk to them, that person is most likely going to self-destruct. If you are the alpha and omega in your own palace, that you don't have anyone that you're answerable to, it's going to be a big problem. And that is really playing out in his character. If you see him even on the pitch, right? We were talking about his last game for the Super Eagles, the World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe. After that game, the way he was reacting, the players were calling him. Yes, the team lost. Everybody was sad that they lost. The reaction he was giving off to his co-players, to his colleague, it says a lot about his personality as a person. And then now we are talking about him making that major move. See, the truth is this. Osimhen made a very terrible mistake with Napoli. Now to rectify that mistake, he has to make sacrifice. You cannot eat your cake and have it. He has to make sacrifice to actually get out of Napoli. If he's not willing to make that sacrifice by taking a pay cut or doing something that is going to, put Napoli in a comfortable position before he leaves, then definitely is going to be putting his career, in a very bad light, because Napoli will always decide, where Victor Osimhen will go if Victor Osimhen wants it to actually play out, the way it's actually going on, and he doesn't have more time. If he were to be a 24 or 23-year-old player, we'll be looking at, okay, perhaps if this lingers for 2 years, Napoli also will get tired, and then he's definitely going to move on. But now he's very much at the twilight of his career, and this is the age and the peak where players actually get it in another 2-3 seasons. They actually either hit it, to the top and start declining, or they just start declining right at this point. So for strikers, as we know, when a striker gets to this particular age, that they're definitely bound to get series of injury. And it's good that Victor Osimhen hasn't really shown that is that much of an injury-prone player. But then he's had his fair share of injuries. And then when clubs start analyzing the risk assessment of a player like him, they look at his history in Germany, they look at his history in Italy, and now they will be looking at his history in Turkey. If a player cannot go 2 straight seasons without injury, it's going to be a big problem. And he has shown that he cannot go 2 straight seasons without injuries. So this is another big factor that these guys will be considering. So Osimhen needs to do the very basic at this point. Look for a top team in Europe, take a pay cut and leave Napoli. You need to breathe a fresh air. And even if it means telling the clubs that, okay, if we can get to semi-finals of a major cup, perhaps an FA Cup or any cup, perhaps in the Champions League, or I score this number of goals in the UEFA Champions League, or this number of goals in the league. All these are conditions that it is not even strained to the world of football. He should stop behaving like an outlier when it comes to understanding what football contract is all about. Except he wants to tell himself that he's going to be the agent and also a player. And players who put themselves in this position where they are to be the agent of their own self are players who have actually seen it all. Players who are very much, perhaps they are just about 2-3 years in their career. The likes of Ryan Giggs, before they left football officially, Paul Scholes, these guys were already out of football before you can actually start making decisions. But at this point, you need other people to manage your life, your football life, and also people who will manage you as a person. Victor Osimhen really need to spend big, like you really said.
All right, and of course, I know very, very good agent to do that. And I hope that Victor Osimhen has the right agent who can speak to him in those rooms that really matters, because those are the rooms that will decide his football future. Definitely, Osimhen should even be earning as much as Erling Haaland with what he brings on the pitch. But it is what it is. So we leave that for him to make the big decision, because they say the buck stops on his table as far as it's concerned. But let's talk about the PFA Awards, where Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes and Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah are among the 6 nominees for the Professional Footballers Association Player of the Year award. The Premier League champions Liverpool have 2 players among the nominees, with Argentina midfielder Alexis McAllister joining Egypt's Salah, who has already won the Premier League Player of the Season award on the list. Salah, who scored 29 times and provided 18 assists last season, is aiming to win the award for a record-breaking 3rd time. Newcastle United forward Alexander Isak is nominated after helping the Magpies qualify for the Champions League with 27 goals and 42 appearances last term. United finished a disastrous 15th at the Premier League, but Fernandes, surprisingly, scored 8 goals and laid on 10 assists for the Red Devils last season, and he makes the list? How come? What happened? All right, Chelsea playmaker Cole Palmer and Arsenal midfielder Declan Rice complete the list of nominees, and the winner of the award will be announced on 19 August at a ceremony in Manchester. Okay, because the ceremony is to be hosted in Manchester, so that Manchester fans, they are toxic, so that they will not beat up the organizers. They decided to put Bruno Fernandes on the nomination list. But in all honesty, Bruno Fernandes has no business being in that list, with all due respect. Even Cole Palmer, they don't have business being on that list, but it is what it is. Even McAllister, maybe, and because they won the league, but I don't think McAllister too should be on that list, but it is what it is.
Well, if you say McAllister and Cole Palmer, I will agree with you. But Bruno Fernandes deserves to be on the list. Yes, definitely, he's not going to win it. We all know that he's not going to win it. Definitely, I mean, Mo Salah deserves to win it. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the contribution of Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United last season, he was an exceptional player in a very terrible team. And that's just the honest truth. He was an exceptional player in a very terrible team. He removed Bruno
Was
Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes really exceptional? Was he really exceptional last season? I think he had a poor season compared to the numbers he was bringing in. What he has been doing for Manchester, he didn't really perform last season. Last season was one of his worst. Yes, go ahead.
See, the thing is this. Yeah, you cannot say he didn't perform. He was the only standout player in that particular team, in a team that is very terrible. And that's just from the defense to the attack, they are very terrible, except Bruno Fernandes. And that's the reason why definitely we all know that he's not going to win. Even to the blind, Mohamed Salah deserves it at his age, the number of assists, the number of goals that he was able to contribute to Liverpool winning the EPL. Yes, they were unfortunate that they met a PSG that was able to kick them out of the Champions League. If not for PSG, probably Liverpool would have won the Champions League because of the kind of performance they put in. However, if you look at the overall performance of a player for each club, I think Bruno Fernandes deserves a mention, and that's the reason why he's making the list. For McAllister, I don't understand the reason why he's there. I would have even preferred to say Gravenberch on that particular list. For Cole Palmer, probably maybe they are trying to reward him because of what he did last season. But this season, he has not been on fire, and he should not be on that list. So, but in any case, I would say congratulations to Mohamed Salah in advance, because I know he deserves to win that particular title, that particular award rather.
Definitely. Ikechukwu, I don't know, Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer, and McAllister. Those are the 3 names I have issues with. But it is what it is. This is an award made by players themselves. So a lot of players will only see what they see. We want to see what he did the whole season. But with all due respect, Bruno Fernandes does not deserve to be on that list.
I think two Man U players had better season than Bruno Fernandes. Amad Diallo and Kobe Mainoo. They had better season than Bruno Fernandes. But of course, sometimes when this award comes up, player character is one thing they actually look at. and Bruno Fernandes is the captain of Manchester United, and he's got a very big character in that team. And sometimes you might not even be the best player on the pitch, but your presence would be a motivating factor. And perhaps maybe that's the angle people who actually nominated him actually came from. But for Alexis McAllister, he's a standard Liverpool midfielder. Every single time he's not on the pitch for Liverpool, you will definitely know that something is missing. The likes of Soboslai, Gravenberch, and Endo Wataru, these guys are actually very fantastic players when they're on the ball. But there's something about McAllister. He's the standard, most experienced in that Liverpool midfield in terms of how he actually coordinated in Liverpool.
Definitely, he did well.
And when you're looking at a team that won the championship, you're looking at Mo Salah and the number he brought in. Then you definitely you'll be looking at the midfielders that actually made that happen. And of course, he's Liverpool's most outstanding midfielder last season. Gravenberch, yes, best young player midfielder as far as I'm concerned. But unfortunately, we've not. He wasn't part of the
young player, PFA young players.
So, but for this one, right, I think McAllister really deserves it. And then, but for Kopama is where I have issues. I don't understand how Kopama got there. Maybe for some reasons they just want him to be there. But yes, Declan Rice, another outstanding player. He actually, won some important points for Arsenal all through season. Some of those games like against Manchester United, those late goals. He actually contributed in key games. Right, he really stood out for Arsenal last season as well. So I think overall, I think the list is just fair, and it's going to really be easy for Mo Salah to actually.
You're okay with Bruno Fernandes?
I just told you why I feel he's there. I told you too many players that are better than Bruno Fernandes. But for player character, I think that's why they actually nominated him. But for me, I don't think he's better than Amad Diallo and Kobe Mainoo last season.
All right, okay, that does it. But definitely those names. And because it's in Manchester, I hope the awardees will not be bullied to give it to.
No, Manchester United is a big team. That's exactly why you see. No matter how.
I think the award is going to be done in Manchester. I hope they will not be bullied to give it to Bruno Fernandes. No. I will lead the protest to Manchester myself because definitely arguably is Mohamed Salah's award to win, not to lose, just to win. Okay, let's talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, where Lionel Messi scored a brilliant free kick to lead Inter Miami to a 2-1 comeback victory over FC Porto in the Group A class at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. And of course, a lot of things have been said about Lionel Messi and so on and so forth. FIFA, this is what they want to see: organizing the Club World Cup, and Messi is shining.
It's crazy. That yesterday, FC Porto got the first goal, and then in second half,
the Nigerian boy,
and Inter Miami equalized. Immediately, Lionel Messi got that free kick, just like what happened against Liverpool in that Champions League in 2019, when stadiums, everybody in stadiums started clapping, Messi, Messi, Messi. The commentator was saying, "This is Messi time. This is Messi time. This is Messi time," and then the rest they say is history. This is the hallmark of what the greatest of all time does. I mean, this is exactly how the big man could step into the light where everywhere seems dark. And Lionel Messi, I don't think he needs any extra introduction to big moments like this. Congratulations to them. I don't know how far they are going to go in this particular tournament, but of course, this is a victory for a club side that is at the very, very low level of American football, now competing at the highest level. It says a lot about what himself, Lionel Messi, and of course David Beckham actually brought into that club. It's a very good moment for them to actually enjoy.
All right, of course, Messi pulling the stunts again, showing that this is the reason why he's the greatest of all time. Marwa.
Well, definitely, he still get that ball for body at 37, scoring that kind of free kick. When he was about to play the free kick, the commentator was saying this is Messi's territory, and lo and behold, he actually scored. It shows the kind of quality he possesses. Even their game against Al Ahly that they drew. I mean, he was just so unlucky that he was unable to score in that particular game. At 37, he's still showing class, and that is what we call longevity, and that's what we call passion. That's the reason why he's the greatest of all time. He has put in a whole lot of work. He has the talent. Even the movement is very slow, but the brain and the sensibility and the football sensibility is still there, and that's the reason why he's definitely one of the greatest players of all time. I don't think they will win the FIFA World Cup club, But I think with this kind of performance, I think they might go very far in this particular tournament. The Inter Miami side is now like a reunion for the former Barcelona players. Mascherano as the coach, Luis Suarez, Busquets, Messi, and the likes of them playing that particular team. I think they give Inter Miami a whole lot of edge, and I'm looking forward to see how far they can go in this particular tournament.
All right, and now that Ronaldo has won the Nations League, what if Messi wins the Club World Cup? We might be seeing two of them in the nomination list for the Ballon d'Or and FIFA the Best. Just say I told you so. All right, and what that means is between two of them, they might pick the two awards. Anyway, let's see how that pans out. And of course, it also shocks at the Club World Cup where Brazilian side Botafogo pulled off a major upset by beating the UEFA Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain by a goal to nil. Igor Jesus scored the only goal in the 36th minute, and they say the rest is history. It means that we might be seeing more shocks at the Club World Cup. But time not really our friend. I'll also let you know that Liverpool have agreed a £40 million deal to sign left-back Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, and the 21-year-old Hungary international is set to join the Premier League champions after 2 seasons with the Cherries. So, business is being done. Don't worry, we're bringing more, and we are not sleeping on it. Maiwa, thanks for being a part of the show this afternoon, and of course, I think you can send some advice of how Liverpool is doing it to Morim and the board.
Well, I hope by this time next season, I hope you will not be giving us story of
Don't
why
worry.
you did not win the league.
This is
You are
confirmed.
signing players now. I expect you to win the league. If not, be ready for cooking Jerry. Thank you for having me.
And when we did not sign player one league, come and now we will now sign players. No, just for Valley, don't worry. Big thanks to the guys behind the scene as well as Ikechuku, and the one behind the scene as well as Manfred, Adura, and of course Paul. My name is Jerry Apelahai, and up next is Political Lens with Chukuma Okoro. Until we see you again, stay safe, and if not 20 at all, tweet the sports.